Good evening, believers. How are you doing today? This is Love Coach Dasha coming to you today for the Healing Hour Live. Now, if you've never been with me before, you don't know what it is that I do here. I am a relationship coach specifically for women who want to heal and reconcile after infidelity. You've been cheated on, but you're not leaving. Whatever your reason may be, I believe that whatever reason that you have, it's a good reason for you. And I want to show you all the things that I personally learned along my own healing journey in order to heal, reconcile, get past this chapter, and move on with the next part of your story. I believe in your story, girl. I believe if you believe that this is the person for you, I think that you're right. Yes, this challenge may have arrived. Yes, this is the conflict of the story. But if he's still your Prince Charming, if he's still the right person for you, I believe that if you believe that. And so that's what happened with me. He was just the right person. He just is. And he is going to be for probably the rest of my life. That's just how I feel about him. I don't think anybody else could have gotten the healing, could have gotten the forgiveness that I gave this particular man. Okay. I think that the person that you have chosen has got to be pretty special if you have deemed him worthy of forgiveness. And I want to show you everything that I possibly can to make that successful, to make it so that you can move past this and you can have your happily ever after. All right. So we talk every time we talk a little bit about the fact that you've been through a trauma. If you want to heal from this, if you want to reconcile, if you want to be back together, the key thing that you need to do is recognize this as the trauma that it is and then start treating it like a trauma. So the things that I'm going to tell you through this live, these are things that you can do right now, starting this moment, to be able to get yourself in alignment with healing from trauma. Okay? Now, the first thing, every time we get together, I am always going to tell you to do your deep breathing. Have you been doing your deep breathing? If you have not, I need you to take that seriously now. I need you to go ahead and make it a practice. I want this to be 5 times in a row, 5 times a day. Put it in your cell phone. I know you have it with you at all times. It will alarm and you will do this exercise for about a minute. That's all it really takes. Just doing it consistently like that is showing your body consistently that this trauma did happen. You acknowledge it, you can feel it in your body. However, you are making conscious decisions that you are safe now, that you are not in any danger, that things are going well. It's okay. When you are anxious, your breathing changes. It becomes more short, more shallow. When you are doing these deep breathing techniques, long, slow, deep breaths in and out, you are doing the opposite of panic breathing. So you are showing your body physically, because trauma is a physical thing. You are showing your body physically that you are okay. There is nothing attacking you right now. You can relax. And that is key to being able to heal from this. Because if your body is always in a reactive state, you are always feeling triggered, you are not going to be able to get to the part of your brain that is necessary for you to be able to really calmly work this out. So I want you to have all the tools that you can possibly have to be able to get there. So we're doing our deep breathing. Now, what I do is 4-7-8 breathing. That's what we're going to do together. Now, you can do whatever kind of breathing technique you like as long as you are doing it. It does not matter what it is as long as you do it, okay? So, we're going to do 4-7-8 breathing. What it is you are going to blow out, try and deflate your lungs as much as you possibly can. Then you're going to inhale through your nose if possible for a count of 4. You're going to hold that breath for a count of 7. And then you're going to blow out like you're blowing out an entire cake full of birthday candles for a count of 8. When you do this, you are emptying out excess carbon dioxide from your lungs. You are inhaling a fresh lung full of oxygen. You are holding it long enough for your body to use it, and then you are blowing out any excess carbon dioxide that is produced, okay? That is what we are doing. We are teaching our bodies that we do not need to pant right now. We are safe, okay? So come do your deep breathing with me. Come on in here. All right, I will guide you along. If you've never done it before, just try it. You'll have it in a couple of breaths, okay? First things first, we're going to blow out. Inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Beautiful. How do you feel when you do the deep breathing? Let me know in the comments if you feel something physically when you are doing your deep breathing, because that is what we are focusing on. We are focusing on this body, changing how this body feels in the midst of this trauma. It is incredibly helpful. Trust me. Pay attention to it and write it down. Make sure that you're putting it in your journal, which is the next thing. Put down how you are feeling in your journal when you do your deep breathing versus when you don't do it. You need that data to let you know, hey, this is actually working. Okay. Now, the second thing, of course, is doing your journaling. I need you to do your journaling. Have you been doing your journaling? If you have not, you are doing yourself a disservice. I need you to jump on that. Now, your journaling is going to be a simple practice you're going to do. You're going to do it first thing in the morning when you wake up, just to get into the habit of this, and then right before you go to bed. You're only going to take about 5 minutes. It doesn't seem like it's enough time because there's a lot of thoughts going on in there, right? Take the stuff that comes to the surface, the things that are way at the top of your brain, the first things that pop up when you go to put a pen in your hand. Those are the things you write down. Write that for about 5 minutes. Don't try to write it all down, okay? Your brain is going a mile a minute and it is nervous about you not knowing this information. So it will keep on spitting things at you to be able to write down. It wants you to write down all of this stuff that it's talking about, but you can't write down all of it. You can only deal with a little bit of it at a time. So 5 minutes is good. Periodically throughout the day, if you feel like you want to write something, if your brain is screaming something at you, it keeps repeating something, go ahead and take 5 minutes and write then, but try not to expand past 5 minutes. When we get going, it's hard to stop. Okay. When I would write, I would cramp my hand up and then I wouldn't want to write for a while because I had a hand cramp. So make sure that you're making this as comfortable as possible for yourself. 5 minutes, the most important thoughts that come to mind. Okay. You're going to do your date, your time, your level of anxiety every time you do your journaling. You are going to do your date and time so that you know when things happen. If you are journaling periodically throughout the day, you can go to these days and see, okay, this day of the week, this time of the day, are these times where I'm feeling more triggered? Why am I feeling more triggered? What's happening then? What happened in the hours before that? You'll be able to find clues to your triggers before you even know that it's a trigger. Okay, so if you pay attention to what you're writing and you write consistently, you will have lots of clues to look at, and your date and time helps you to categorize that. Then you're going to do your level of anxiety. Your level of anxiety is 0 to 10. It can be absolutely nothing. It could be everything is great, all is right with the world. Write that down. Put it in the top corner of your journal so you can just flip through and see when you've had 0 days. Because when you do that, when you are consistently looking for the good days, your brain will try and make you think that nothing is good. But if you've got it written in the top of your journal and, oh, this is a 0 day, this was a 0 day, you will know that your brain is lying to you about everything being bad. So you will be able to have proof that you have had good days, even in the midst of this trauma. All right. Jennifer, hey, Jennifer. You said it hurts when I feel as I am writing. See, and that's another good reason to limit it to 5 minutes, because you're going to be feeling it's going to try and pour out of you when you are writing in your journal. So limit it to about 5 minutes, set a timer. And then whatever was top of mind, the things that came out first, you can go ahead and write those things. That's what we can deal with in 24 hours. Like, we cannot deal with every single thing, every single pain that our brains will come up with as we're trying to journal. It will try and tell you everything. So we can't deal with all of it. But if you write for about 5 minutes, you'll have 3 or 4 really good topics that, okay, I can do something about these particular things. So just 5 minutes, first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed, and then any other time during the day. All right. Now, your other end of the spectrum, a 10. A 10 is a loss of control. I do not have control over myself anymore. That's how bad the pain is. I don't want you to think that anything less than losing control of yourself is a 10. 10 is, I want to rip my hair out, tear my clothes off, run screaming down the street naked. You just don't care anymore. You are throwing things. You are breaking your own stuff. You are screaming. You are getting the police called on you. You have lost control of yourself. If you're not at that point, you're not at a 10. It's not as bad as you think it is. Okay? Because it could be worse. You could be having the neighbors call the cops on you. Okay? You could be losing it that bad. So I want you to know that it has a limitation. That is as bad as it can possibly get, and feeling wonderful is as good as it can possibly get. That is as big as these feelings can get on you. They cannot eat you. They cannot swallow you whole. So hold tight to that. Okay? Do your journaling. Do your journaling at least that twice a day. Right before you get ready to go to bed is a great time to do it, because if you've been having nightmares about him cheating, if you start writing in your journal before you go to bed, like, okay, brain, give me the worst of it. I'm going to write it down in the book, and it'll give you the worst of it. Okay, now the worst of it is down in the book. Now, subconscious, unconscious, you can work on that while I'm asleep, but we cannot be sitting here dreaming about this. Don't wake me up while you're working on it. Okay, tell your brain, give your brain an assignment to do, because it wants to do all this work, so you might as well tell it to do something productive. Tell it to work on those problems while you're asleep, and then we will reconvene in the morning. Okay? All right. Anything else? All right. Lovely to see you, Jennifer. All right. Trying to see if there's any other questions. None over here. I am on Love After Cheating Facebook group. I am in my Love Coach Dasha page on Facebook. Come, like, follow me. And I am on YouTube. Like, subscribe, do the things. All right. Okay. So next thing that you always need to know about healing after this trauma is to gather an attitude of gratitude. Okay? Look for anything that you can be grateful for in this moment and acknowledge it out loud. Say it, appreciate it, smile about it, write it down in your journal. Okay? If you will cultivate this habit, And I'll tell you about my own habit in a second. But if you can cultivate this habit, you will counteract your brain's natural inclination to think the worst when you've been traumatized. When you've been traumatized, your brain is naturally going for the thing that is more painful, hurt, anger. It's going in that direction. So if you are consistently stopping your brain from spiraling out and saying, I am so grateful for this thing. When you start doing that on a regular basis, you teach your brain that you want it to look for the good thing, not the bad thing. Then it starts to change that pattern up. It doesn't always go towards the negative thing. Sometimes it will start to hand you a positive thing. And then express gratitude for that. When your brain just out of the blue is like, oh, look, that's a pretty color of blue. Aren't we grateful for that? Yes, we are grateful for that. Thank you so much, brain. You're doing so good. Tell your brain it's doing a good job when it does that, and it will do it more. Okay? Be consistent about it. First thing in the morning when you're journaling, write down 5 things you're grateful for. Right before you go to bed, write down 5 things that you're grateful for. Now, personally, I have found it's 4 words. Thank you, more please. All right. Every time something good comes across and I feel grateful for it, I'm like, that's a great thing. Thank you, more please. Like a little kid. Like I am telling you in verse, I love that. That was delightful to me. Give me more. All right. It has been amazing because even now, like I was having a hard time the other day. I was feeling a little overwhelmed. It popped into my head. I was like, well, yeah, but I got all of that going, but I'm walking. I'm walking up to my own front door and I'm grateful for that. And I am putting my key into a lock that works in my front door, in my home, and people that I love are on the other side of this door. And I'm grateful for that. Even in the moment when I was stressing, my brain went to that because I've been training it to do that. I have been insisting every time I see something that moves me. I love the videos where people are reunited. I love those. Gets me crying every time. I always say, thank you, more please, when I see one of those. And it has changed the way my brain functions. When I am consistently being grateful, it changes the way my brain naturally functions just on a day-to-day basis. It's really easy as just being an adult, moving around in this world, going from thing to thing to thing that you have to do, to lose sight of the fact that this is a beautiful, wonderful life to be able to live. It is gorgeous here on this planet Earth, perfectly made for us. It has extremes, but we like extremes sometimes. It is a beautiful thing to be here. And the day-to-day grind will make you forget that. You'll get overwhelmed and the bills are coming and there's so much you have to do and you have to take care of this and that. And of course, we women, we take care of everything and everybody. It makes it easy for you to forget that there are so many things to be grateful for. So if you can just add that little thing into your day, constantly looking for, thank you, more please, as you are going about being grateful for things that happen to you, you will find more and more and more of them as you go along. Okay. And that is healing to the part of your brain that always thinks negatively because something bad happened. So I got to think negatively so nothing bad will happen again. That's what part of your brain you're working on when you work on your gratitude. Okay. All right. Any questions, comments, thoughts, complaints? Jennifer, you said, I follow you, yet I don't think he has anything left with him with the wrong group. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, Jennifer. Repeat that for me. You follow me? Thank you so much for following me. I don't think he has anything left. And with the wrong group. Well, sometimes it seems like you don't have anything left, but when you change what you're doing, I always say when you change the world around you. When you start doing the actions of healing seeps out around you. things improve, whether you were intending them to or not, whether they wanted them to be improved or not. So if that's what you're saying, that it seems like he doesn't have anything left, work on your own healing. Work inward and let it ripple outward. Okay? All right. So let's see. Last thing before we get into the teaching for tonight, I want you, with all my heart, to stop asking him all those questions. Okay? We need to stop that. We have to stop. I know that in every group that I'm in other groups. I was in other groups before I started doing this. So many people have so many questions. Women have so many questions about why this happened. And that's totally natural. That's the way our brains work. In that trauma, it wants to know all the details. It wants to know all of the things that happened that led to this particular pain. What could have gone on that was so wonderful between the two of you that I'm in this much pain now? Okay. So we want to know. We want to figure that out. Okay. It is totally natural to want to do that because it is a trauma response. But if we are trying to heal, we cannot continuously do what the trauma tells us to do. Like the trauma will tell you, go look through his phone, see who he's talking to. You can't do those actions because that's the action of somebody who's still hurting. You can't do those actions and then be healing at the same time. You're doing something else that is adding to the hurt. You're not doing anything that is adding to the healing. So we've got to choose the healing path anytime we get the opportunity. And the best way to do that, especially between the two of you, is stop asking him all those questions. You don't need any more detail. You have been informed of the worst of this, the parts that he really remembers that sticks out to him. And at this point, all the details, all the gory little details that you could be getting, that's just giving your brain more ammunition to fire at you every time you want to open your heart back up to him. If you want to reconcile, don't keep giving yourself more and more things to heal from. It's as bad as it's going to get. He cheated. That's bad, all right? Whether it was talking to somebody online, all the way through having an entire affair and having another family, okay? Whatever range of behavior it was a betrayal. You know that. You don't need to keep piling on the pain in order to heal. That is not the way you heal. As a matter of fact, your brain doesn't care about you healing. It wants you not to be hurt again. So it will keep going over and over and over the same details over and over again while you just continue to hurt and hold yourself back instead of putting yourself out there for love again. So if you want to heal, if you want the love back, if you want that connection back, asking the questions isn't a good idea. All right. Okay. All right, Jennifer, you said, okay, thank you. You're welcome. STDs. You want to talk about STIs? I'm trying to tell you, man. I will tell you something that is interesting to me, and I want to just tell you this because I got to move on to the actual like teaching for tonight. But let me tell you this: I had trichomoniasis or whatever it's called. I had that when I was having sex with absolutely nobody. Okay, that is one of the ones that insurance companies, my midwife, OBGYN, told me at the time. She was like, at the time, and this was like, it had to be like 27 years ago, it was before I met him. She told me that they were reclassifying that as an STI because it can be transmitted sexually. However, it does not have to be. And I was sitting there talking to her because I was like, how do I have an STI? And she was explaining to me that the classification of it had changed with insurance. And that's why it was classified as an STI. But she was like, yeah, you can get it from other things. So that's the first thing. If you were talking about this STI, it is always this one. And it's weird that, well, at this point, if insurance has been saying for so long that that's what it is, but doctors were like, no, that's not necessarily how you could have gotten it. You can easily get it from other things. So just so you know, if you are having an issue with that one in particular does not actually have to be sexually transmitted. I'm just letting you know because my doctor told me. Okay. All right. Now, other STDs, yeah, you can know that he gave it to you. You can know that where it came from, and I totally understand that. I don't want you to feel trapped because you have an STD. If you have an STD and it's something that isn't curable, I don't want you to feel like, oh, I have to stay with this person forever just because of that. Don't put yourself into the position to feel like you're staying just because other people wouldn't want you. That is not the case. Okay. Plenty of men out here just don't care. All right. Plenty of people would be happy to be with you and treat you good, even if you had an STI. Okay. So don't feel like that means I have to stay in this relationship, because you don't. You don't have to do anything. That's a major reason why I started doing this. I wanted women to know you are not painted into a corner. You are not trapped. You can do whatever you choose to do. Okay. So if that is what you really want, is to stay, you can forgive for that. That is very difficult to forgive for. It is. But it is part of the betrayal too. That is an added layer of betrayal. So I can understand if it's hard to get your mind around it, but if that's where you want to be, if this is where you feel like you can open your heart again, you feel like this is the love that you actually want, you can heal from this. You can get past it. Okay. You said, I'm sorry. He never said anything. 3 years. Last stage syphilis. Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Jennifer. That's horrible. Yeah. And people are so ashamed, And a lot of the time with STIs, people are so ashamed and they just don't want anybody to know that that's how it is. And then, at this point, that starts affecting how your brain works. So, the last 3 years, I'm so sorry for that. And so you've been exposed this entire time and you had no idea. I know that sucks. I know it does. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. So are you still staying? Are you trying to still be together as he's going through these last stages? Because, then, if it ends up being something that causes a death, then I can understand if you just want to go ahead and stick it out through the rest. But let me know. Are you trying to stay? Are you trying to work things out? All right. All right. I got to get to the teaching, though, so I'm going to come back to you when I get finished with that part, okay? And anybody else, if you got questions, comments, thoughts, complaints, I am here for you. I will answer as well as I possibly can. I will give you as good information as I can. I am a medical professional, but I am not your medical professional. So I told you what I know about that particular STI just from what I learned from a doctor. So I'm just sharing information that I found out. Don't use me as medical reference, okay? Go to your doctor, get checked out, make sure that you're safe, okay? All right. So, we're moving on with the lesson for tonight because we're talking about the other woman tonight. We are into it tonight. Why do you still think about the other woman? All right. And how to get her the hell out of the middle of your relationship. Because I think she's taking up enough space, don't you? I think we're at that point. She's taking up plenty of space. It's time to start getting rid of her. Okay. Your brain is doing this for a reason. So let's start to understand it, break it down, and then we can stop feeding into what it does to continue to think about her. Okay. So she isn't there anymore, hopefully. But somehow she just keeps showing up, right? Let's say your husband is joking with you and you're enjoying him. You're smiling, you're laughing, and then suddenly Your brain says, I wonder if he joked with her like this. And just like that, now the moment isn't between the two of you anymore. You've mentally brought her into the middle of it. And that's the problem that we're solving tonight. You've got to stop giving the other woman a seat in moments that belong just to you and your husband. As you are allowing the healing to happen on the healing path, you've got to stop giving her a place all the time. Okay? Thinking about her after betrayal isn't evidence that you're crazy, you're petty, you're insecure. It is not evidence of any of that. Your traumatized brain does this to understand a threat. She is taken as a threat. And so now we have to find out the information about her. Now we have to think about her. Now we have to look for her. So who was she? Why her? What did she have? Could this happen again? Your brain does all kinds of things to protect you after a trauma. And right now, it thinks that understanding her is going to help protect you. But eventually, that protection becomes another source of pain. As you are trying to heal from this terrible trauma, your brain constantly turning to her ends up being another shot to the gut every time you're trying to heal. Because your brain has turned her into a problem it thinks it can solve. It thinks if I know enough about her, I can solve this problem. I can rest assured that this person will never hurt me again. So some things that your brain will think. Of course, why her? It's always the first one, right? And we talked about this last week, well, week before last, before I took my son to college. Week before last, we were talking about the questions that you ask. And there's an assumption buried inside of the question, why her? Okay. There must have been something about her that made him choose her over me. All right. Maybe she was prettier. Maybe she was sexier, younger, more exciting, more available. But you're assuming that his decision was essentially a comparison shopping. Wife A versus woman B. All right. And what if it wasn't like that? What if that's not what was actually going on in his head? His reasons for cheating may have had so much more to do with what was happening inside him than anything extraordinary about her. You can spend years trying to become better than a woman who was never actually the reason that he cheated. If you keep allowing her that place, making you feel like I have to be better than her because it had to be something special about her, you will become more obsessed with her than he ever was. If you keep believing there was something about her that was so much more deeply worthy than you are, you will act like you're in love with her. You will think about her all the time. You'll go stalk her Facebook page. You will be trying to call her and talk to her. You'll be doing all sorts of things that make it look like you were more interested in her than he ever was. So you've got to realize that why her is assuming that there was a comparison between the two of you. And more than likely, it had nothing to do with you and it had nothing to do with her. It had to do with him. The second thing is the comparison trap. Now your brain starts ranking things. Who was prettier? Who was thinner? Who was better at sex? Who was younger? Who was more exciting? But let's follow that all the way through, because that's what happens when you're like, what if, what if, what if? Follow it through to the end. Suppose you objectively establish, I'm prettier. All right. Anybody could say it. Anybody can see it. I am the prettier of the two of us. Okay, now what? Did that undo the betrayal? Was it bibbity bobbity boo and then it's all over? No, right? Okay. Now she's prettier. Now what? Did that explain the betrayal? How somebody who loves you could have done this to you? No, right? You don't have to make her ugly or less than in order to believe that you are beautiful and enough. Her existence is not evidence of your inadequacy. She is a person in the world just like you are a person in the world. We are all valuable in our own ways. So your value to him does not depend on her. Comparison is a thief of joy. I know you heard that before. You need to be very wary of that as you are trying to heal, trying to reconcile. Comparing yourself to another woman is always going to lead you down a bad path. And I saw this on Facebook once years ago. It said comparing beauty is pointless because Christmas lights are pretty and flowers are pretty, but they're not pretty in the same way. You know, there's somebody who thinks that you are the most beautiful creature on the planet, and there is somebody who thinks that you are a miserable, miserable last place compared to her. Okay, there is so much variety of desire on this planet that comparing yourself to anybody else is pointless. You can't be anybody else. And you shouldn't want to. Just because this trauma happened to you doesn't mean that you should want to be somebody that you're not. You want to be you as much as you possibly can. That's where your healing is going to be. Being yourself, being who you are, the level of beauty that you are, the level of intelligence that you are, and working towards betterment, but never feeling like you are less than just because you are comparing yourself to someone else. Those standards don't work. And we've got to get out of the misogyny of it to believe that we should be comparing ourselves to other women. It's not doing anything but causing us pain. Okay? Um, the third thing is that in your brain, you may have created a version of her that may not even exist. Okay. I had a conversation with a client last week, and she had built this entire romantic narrative that he was acting like her boyfriend, and they were so in love with each other, and he just couldn't stand to be away from her, and he just had to be with her. In reality, they had sex outside in the grass 2 times, and that was the whole relationship. That was it. That was all that happened. All right. So she turned this into him being a beautiful, lovely, romantic partner for her when he didn't treat her like that at all. There was absolutely no evidence that that was how he treated her, but it got stuck in her head. And she keeps going over the same thing over and over and over again. Well, was he acting like he was in love with her? And to her, the idea of if he behaved like he loved her, then that's her deal breaker. That is her thing where this is the line. And if he crossed that line, then I need to go. But I'm like, you can go anyway. The evidence states that the entire thing that you thought of is not real. The evidence is showing you that that's not true. But you see how your brain insists that it has to be true? It's trying to push you away from him. It's trying to say, no, this had to be what happened, and you should run away very fast because this is how he was treating her. He was acting like he was all her boyfriend. He was doing all good, nice things for her and stuff that he never did for you. And that is the story that is playing out over and over and over in her brain, that her man was trying to be somebody else's man instead of just trying to get sex out of her. Okay. You may be imagining their relationship more than either one of them ever imagined it. You might be more obsessive over it than they ever were with each other. You weren't there. So your brain is trying to fill in the blanks. It's trying to come up with looks and touches and conversation and romance and sex and connection. And because you're imagining it from the perspective of being a woman who loves your husband, you often accidentally imagine your own feelings in her experience, even though she doesn't have that same connection with him that you do. He's a completely different person with her. Often they completely change their personalities around these women. So they're not even getting the real him. They don't even know who they're dealing with. You may be fantasizing about their relationship more than either one of them ever did. So stop turning missing information into a love story. Stop turning it into importance and significance, that she was so much more important than you. Because then that tells your brain, well, then you're always in danger. If she was so much important, anybody could be more important to you then. Anybody could be more important to him. So you're always in danger. That's what your brain is doing when it's doing that. This is a hard one to talk about. You keep making him bring her back. You don't want him to be thinking about her. You don't want him to be obsessed over her, but you're asking the questions. What did she say? What did you say? What was she wearing? Did you like it? Did you think about her afterward? What did you like about her? Was she funny? Did you miss her when you were away from her? And then he gives you the details. And now your brain says, look how much he remembers about her. Except, believers, baby, you asked him. You asked him about it. You wanted him to sit there and fill in details. You wanted him to go back in time in his brain and examine this relationship with her. If you had never said that, he'd have probably forgotten most of those details. He's not sitting at breakfast just spontaneously reminiscing about this woman. You are demanding that he retrieve those memories, and then you're getting distressed that he is able to retrieve them. But that's what you're asking for. Don't make him dig up every memory and then use the fact that he found that memory as proof that she still matters to him. That's a setup. Okay, that's what that is. That's a setup. Your brain is trying to set him up for absolute failure by saying, look how many memories he has of this woman. And he's only digging those memories up because you aren't asking him to dig. You're digging along with him. Most of this stuff would be lost to his memory probably very, very quickly if you weren't digging into it, and you weren't digging into it repeatedly. Over and over, you are going back over the same territory. When we remember things, we are not remembering the thing that happened. Our memory goes back to the last time we remembered the thing. Okay? When you're asking him to remember, he's not going all the way back in time to him being right in her face and them having sex. He's not going back that far. He's remembering the last time we talked about this. And what did I say the last time I talked to you about this? He's remembering. Okay. So you don't have to believe that these memories are so strong and so present for him and that he's so obsessed with her. All right. Number 5, stop bringing her into your current marriage. Okay? That's what we talked about earlier. He jokes with her. He jokes with you. Oh, was he like this with her? He kisses you. Did he kiss her like this? You have great sex. Oh, was the sex better with her? He compliments you. Oh, that's always a hard one. And then you say, well, did he tell her that? Did he say the same things? Did he compliment other things about her? Look what's happening. She isn't doing this. Your husband isn't even necessarily doing this. Your brain is. Your brain is insisting that she be present. The other woman doesn't have to be present for you to keep giving her access to your relationship. She doesn't have to be anywhere around for you to keep opening a door for her to walk in. I want you to think about an affirmation, okay? When you are having these moments where you're together, when you're having sex and you are in the moment and you're like, oh, what's going on with him and her all that time ago? I want you to say the affirmation, this moment belongs to us. I do not have to bring her into it. This moment belongs to us. I do not have to bring her in it. This is a tool. When the thought appears, don't argue with it. Don't investigate it. Don't dig into it. Don't answer it. You use your affirmation. This moment belongs to us. Even if you just want that little bit of it, this moment belongs to us. Instead of opening the door and saying that she can come into a moment between the two of you again. You're allowing that right now. In the present, that's you allowing it. If he is still seeing her, that's a different topic. But if she's already gone and you're trying to work on healing and reconciling, then you've got to be able to let her go too. You wanted him to let her go, right? You got to let her go too. And then you got to return to the moment that you're actually living in. Because you're time traveling doing that. You're thinking about past things that have happened instead of being here now. And the healing is here now. The healing is not back then. There's nothing you can do about back then. You can only experience this moment right now and heal from this moment going forward. You can't heal in the past. Number 6, let's see. You got to ask yourself, what are you actually trying to know? When you're asking, was she prettier? Maybe you're asking, am I enough? Okay. And let me talk about enough real quick. You are enough. Even if you were 80% of what he needs in his life, okay, you can't be 100% for anyone. You can't be 100% everything for another person. That's not possible because we're different people. Okay. That's an impossible thing to ask for. Enough is you are loving, you are loyal, you are here, you enjoy each other. All right. That's enough. Stop thinking that you have to do more and be more. That's called overfunctioning. Stop trying to overfunction and trying to be everything for this man. You cannot. It is good that you are who you are. He has chosen exactly who you are. So that means that you're enough. You're perfectly enough for him. Don't try and be anything more than exactly who you are, because who you are is enough. Okay. Anyway, back to the questions. When you're asking him, did he love her? You're maybe asking, was I still important to you? When you're asking him, does he think about her? Maybe you're asking, really, does he choose me now? Okay. Those are the questions about your actual wound, because you're trying to turn things in her direction, but this is your wound. So the questions that you're asking are not really about her. The questions that you're asking are about you. It's about the relationship between the two of you. It's about how you feel. Stop asking questions about her when you really need reassurance towards you. You don't have to keep asking him questions about her in order to be able to ask for reassurance. You can just ask for reassurance. You can ask for it and say exactly what you want him to say and tell him, say that back to me. All right. And then say it repeatedly. Say it on repeat until I tell you to stop. All right. Um, this one's hard. You can give her back her humanity without making her important. You don't need to make this other woman a monster. Okay? You don't need to make her fascinating. You don't even need to make her a real part of your life. Okay? She was another human being making her own choices from whatever was happening in her own life. Maybe those choices were terrible. Maybe she knew about you. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she was deeply, deeply troubled. Maybe she wasn't. But figuring her out is not your assignment. That is not what you are here to do now. You don't have to understand her in order to make her stop being a part of your story. It's hard to figure out exactly what makes a woman decide to be with somebody who has another woman. Now, sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they have no idea. And you can maybe have compassion for that. We tend to have less compassion if we think that they knew, and we're like, she knew. That's a bad look for womanhood. We can get that, but we don't really know her story. You weren't close to her, but you can let her be a human being who made choices for the situation that she was in. Sometimes people make bad choices. They do. Sometimes you're going to make bad choices. Sometimes he makes bad choices. You can let her be a human being that makes bad choices without inviting her into your relationship, or inviting her to live rent-free in your brain. Okay? So, the exit. Taking back her chair. Pulling that chair out and saying, nope, nope. You can't sit here anymore. You cannot have any more space in my brain. Every time you're having a moment with your boo, all right, and you think, did he do this with her? Picture yourself pulling up a chair and saying, here, come on, sit with us. Other woman, do you want her there? No? Then stop setting a place for her. Stop pulling out the welcome every time your brain has a random thought. She doesn't need a seat at the table in the relationship that you're rebuilding. She doesn't deserve any spot between the two of you. Keep in mind, this moment belongs to us, and I don't have to bring her into it. That's an excellent affirmation for you to practice this week, okay? I don't have to bring her into it. This moment belongs to us. So, believers, you don't have to beat her. You don't, physically or metaphorically. You don't have to understand her. You don't have to prove that you're better than her. You don't have to determine exactly what she meant to him. You don't have to even erase the fact that she existed. You have something much more useful that you can do. You can come back to your own life, your healing, your body, your relationship, your joy, your gratitude, your future. The goal in this is to finally stop caring about her because you proved that you were better. The goal is to build a life so fully yours, so you, that comparing yourself to her stops being relevant. Okay? Now, if you're listening to me say all of that, all right, and you're thinking, Dasha, I want that. I want to stop comparing. I want to stop bringing her into the moments that belong to us. I want to enjoy my husband and my relationship again. I just don't know exactly how to get there from here. That's exactly why I created No Other Woman one-to-one coaching. Because knowing you need to stop obsessing about her and actually being able to do it are two totally different things. You know the questions aren't helping, and you still feel compelled to ask them. You know the comparison is hurting you, and you still find yourself checking her page, studying her pictures, and wondering what she had that you didn't. You can know your husband is choosing you now and still have a nervous system that keeps dragging you back to what happened back then. That's the work we do together. And No Other Woman coaching, it's 3 months of private coaching with me for women who've chosen reconciliation and they're ready to stop letting the betrayal and everything attached to it run their relationship. We'll work on the other woman stuff for sure. The comparisons, the questions, the mental movies, the triggers. Can't forget the triggers. But we're also going deeper than that. We're also going to help regulate your nervous system, rebuild trust in yourself. That's the first thing. Strengthen your voice, create emotional safety in your relationship, and learn how to actually live in the relationship you're rebuilding instead of constantly reliving one where you were betrayed. Because ultimately, No Other Woman isn't really about her. It's about becoming the only woman in your relationship again. Not her, not the terrified version of you who showed up after D-Day, not the version of you who needs one more answer before she feels like she can be okay. You, the woman that you are becoming now. You'll have private coaching with me every week, plus text and voice support in between our sessions so that when stuff shows up in your actual life, you don't have to wait until our next call to be able to sort it out. And if you're ready for that kind of work, it's intense, all right? But if you're ready for that type of work, you are ready for your relationship to move on to its next chapter, send me a private message and just say, No other woman, okay? No other woman in your relationship but you. You don't have to know exactly what to say. You don't have to have everything figured out. Just send me No Other Woman and we'll talk about whether this is the right opportunity for you, because believer, she has taken up enough space. We are not going to give her your future too. She had the past. She had a moment in the past, but now it is time for you and your future to shine, and we cannot drag her along in it. Okay? All right. So No Other Woman in the DMs if you are interested in my coaching. Let me check back. Jennifer, you had anything else? You say you're lost? Honey, I know. Message me, girl. We can talk about it, all right? Let me know. And then let me check over here. Anybody over in the other group? Don't see any questions over there. None on YouTube. Okay, beautiful. All right, so last thing before I go, put in the comments if this has rung any bells for you. If you're like, oh yeah, I do that about her, put it in the comments. What struck you about tonight's teaching? But tonight, as we're ending up here, we're going to talk about one more thing that you can do to counteract the effects of trauma on your brain, and that is to do your affirmations. Have you been doing your affirmations? Oh, I need you to jump on that. I need you to do that. If you need affirmations specifically designed for trying to heal and reconcile after infidelity, go ahead and put affirmation in the comments and I will send you a link to get my affirmations. 60 days of affirmations coming right to your inbox every single day, giving you encouragement, telling you an affirmation each day that you can use that is specifically for healing and reconciling. I'd be happy to send it to you. All right. But doing your affirmations starts to counteract part of the trauma that is going on in your brain, because remember, your brain wants to say that everything is bad, including you. So it's saying that you're bad. You're the problem. You're the issue. That's why it's comparing you with this other woman and saying that you're the one that caused this pain to happen to you in the first place. Okay? Your brain turns on everything in the middle of a trauma. Nothing is safe, everything is awful. So what we've got to do is we've got to start taking back control of the autopilot and getting ourselves back in control of this plane and deciding what we want our brain to be focusing on. So instead of the negative, we're going to focus on the positive. So when you're doing your affirmations, you are telling your brain what you want it to focus on. I am a good person. I am happy. I am sweet. I am light. I am love. That's who I am. That's who I intend to be going forward, even though this trauma has happened to me. So if you continuously remind your brain that that's the way you think of yourself, that's the way it'll start to think of you. Okay? Because you got to remember these thoughts. You can have these thoughts in here. You can think them. You can hear them. You can feel them, but they're not actually you. Those thoughts are coming from somewhere else. That's not the seat of your consciousness. Your consciousness noticed these thoughts. So you've got to notice that it's doing that and stop it from doing that because you are in control because you're the consciousness. Okay? So pick an affirmation. These came from Five Below. Doesn't matter which ones you use. If you use mine or use anybody else's, use an affirmation and use it every day. Okay? This one for today says, today I am mindful. Today I know deep in my heart and soul that happiness and self-worth are within me. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Not within her. We're not worried about her. We don't care about her happiness, her self-worth. We don't care about her. We're talking about us. We're talking about our healing here. Today I am mindful. Today I know deep in my heart and soul that happiness and self-worth are within me. All right. Use those cards, say your affirmation, looking yourself in the eye and say it like you mean it. When you do that, you are remembering, your brain will remember that you said it like you meant it. And so it will start to believe that. And every time you remember that you remembered, you will remember that you thought that you meant it. So each time you go back, it's a never-ending loop. Each time you go back and think about the last time you thought of the affirmation, you will remember the fact that it sounded like you really meant what you were talking about. Okay? It's very, very helpful. Very good for those negative thoughts that keep coming about you. Okay? All right. That is it. I don't see any more questions. But if you've got questions, comments, thoughts, complaints, please add them to the comments and I will answer them next week, okay? But until then, let me remind you to do your deep breathing, do your journaling, do your gratitude practice, stop asking him all those questions, and do your affirmations. But more than anything, I want you to stop doing what the fear and the pain tell you to do. Anything that gets your heart beating fast, anything that makes your head start to clench up, those things are probably the hurting path. If you do the exact opposite of what they say, you will probably be on the healing path. Okay? And I love you. And I'm so, so proud of you. If nobody's told you this week, you need to hear it. I am proud of you for wanting forgiveness and love and understanding and choosing to put your feelings about this person, your feelings about the love that you want ahead of what other people would tell you to do. I know because other people told me to. I am 18 years past the last of the infidelity, and other people say, you should just leave him. And I didn't want to leave him. And I didn't. And he proved me right for staying. So I know you can get to that place, okay? I know that you can get to a place where you feel like, oh, he's proved me right. All right. And I wanted to hear about it. I can't wait to hear all about it. Okay. All righty, y'all. That's about it. Thank you so much for coming to the Healing Hour Live. I will be back next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for next edition of the Healing Hour Live. Bye, y'all. Mwah.